Hello BookTube, welcome back to my channel. This time I'm doing a book tag, specifically the spoiler book tag created by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, a fellow booktuber who created it a few years back. And I saw this tag pop up a few times on my feed and was like, maybe I should give it a shot as well. This tag creates of 9 questions, which I attempt to answer. The first one is, what do you consider a spoiler? Well, I'm very sensitive to spoilers, personally. But what I consider a spoiler is something which ruins a novel, a story for me, in a way that it ruins a surprise or the suspense of a story, knowledge of a story, well, which takes that away, especially of course on the first read. And it doesn't really have to mean like the ending has to be spoiled, but also something which can happen in the first half or even the first page, which might impact the experience for me. Number 2. Does the genre you read impact what you consider a spoiler? I don't think it does. Like I said, I'm very sensitive to spoilers. I think this counts for every genre I read. I don't read everything, but I don't think there are any exceptions. I can't think of any. Even classics. I think novels, books are timeless, and saying that this story is 50 years old, we can openly talk about it. I disagree with that. Number 3. All the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes a synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books or do you prefer to know nothing? Well, I'm a little bit in between. Going into a book knowing absolutely nothing doesn't really happen for me. I'd like to know what I'm getting into, what genre I'm reading, and basically the setup, what subgenre, etc. I do read the synopsis, what's on the back of a book. I think should be spoiler free usually. But I don't really research books. Most of my recommendations come from other booktubers who I share a somewhat similar taste with, so if they enjoy a book I consider picking it up. And yeah, but I do sometimes get spoiled. Sometimes, like I'm currently reading a book, Salem's Lot by Stephen King. A lot of booktubers tend to tell about the kind of monster which this book is about. It's a monster horror book, and a lot of people already know what kind of monster it's about, but I knew getting in, but I preferred having not known what kind of monster it was. It kind of spoils the mystery a little bit, and well, it happened, but yeah, I prefer to not have known, so, but whatever. Number 4. Sometimes an introduction can spoil the ending of the book. Has this ever happened? Not for me, because I don't really read introductions, at least not when I'm starting a book. I sometimes read them after I finish them, and then when I'm reading them, I'm like, yeah, there's stuff in here that when they talk about like how the book impacted the genre as a whole, or how a certain moment had a huge impact, I consider these things spoilers. I'm a plot focused reader. Yeah, I prefer not to know these things, but some people are fine with them. But yeah, I'll always read them after I finish the book, just to be safe. Number 5. Name a time somebody has spoiled a novel for you. Well, there are a few instances of that happening. My biggest one was, what I can think of, was from the last Harry Potter book, which happened a long time ago. I was a lot younger and the internet wasn't as huge as it is nowadays. But yeah, I read the Harry Potter novels in the Dutch version, like this one. Well, they released like 6 months after the English version released, and I was stupid enough to not consider that at all. And so I think I just stumbled upon it on the internet, and the English, most people already knew what happened in the book, and so I got spoiled on like a major death. A lot of death happened in this book, but I got spoiled on like a major character dying in this book, and well, it ruined a part of the book, I guess. Well, it didn't ruin the book for me, but when that character appeared, I was like, I already knew what was gonna happen, and yeah, it was my own fault. I'm not blaming anyone for that, but it can happen. And another big spoiler, which happened also accidentally, which is not really a novel, it's a manga series called Attack on Titan, which is huge in the manga community and anime community. And I watched the first season, and then I got spoiled on something which happened in the second season, which was already out in the manga, which happened accidentally, but it was a huge moment. For those who know, there's a huge moment in like the halfway part of the second season, which changes the whole series basically. And I was kind of pissed off about it, and well, decided to read the manga afterwards just to make sure it didn't happen again. But this is a huge series with a lot of plot twists and a lot of mystery, and yeah, I didn't want to get spoiled. I didn't want to ruin anything, so I just read it as it got released, so the chance of me getting spoiled just was minimal. Yeah, sometimes you just get spoiled on the internet. Oh yeah, to make sure it doesn't happen, you just have to completely shut yourself off from the internet, I think. But I try to. I don't look up a lot about series in general anymore, so it doesn't happen anymore. I don't watch trailers anymore for movies and series, stuff like that, because I like to go in knowing as less as possible. Number 6, have you ever spoiled something for anyone else? Well, I try not to, since I'm so sensitive to it. I make sure I don't spoil anything for anyone else, at least not on purpose. So yeah, I don't think so. Number 7, if spoilers ruin a novel, are there some genres or authors you can't reread? Well, I disagree with this one. On a reread, knowing stuff will happen can actually improve the reading experience again for the second time. Looking for foreshadowing of big events that happen, or plot twist or whatever. So I don't reread a lot of stuff, but for example, Attack on Titan is a very rereadable series because it has many plot twists, and that kind of changes the story after all, which make you look different at characters or stuff that happens. And there's a lot of foreshadowing, so some series are very rereadable, and yeah, I don't think that can ruin the experience, but especially for like the first read, first experience should be spoiler free in my opinion. Even for classics and older stuff. One of my favorite movies, The Matrix, has like a huge plot twist in like the first quarter, which had a huge influence on me ever since I experienced that one. I probably remember it for the rest of my life. And if you've seen it, you probably know what it's about, and I don't want to ruin that experience for anyone. And yeah, everyone should experience that moment, I think. Number 8, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Does this impact or limit your ability to discuss. No, it doesn't limit. Like I said, I'm very mindful of spoilers, and so as I'm reviewing books, I'm sure not to mention anything that spoils it. When I'm reviewing a book, I'm sure to skip spoilers, and I don't have any troubles with them. I don't think reviews in general should have spoilers. So yeah, no problems here. And number 9, shoutouts to other channels. I know a lot of channels have already done this tag, so if you're watching this video and you haven't done it, consider yourself tagged, and I'd love to see your video about it. Even if you don't have a booktube channel, start one. It's a lot of fun and nothing to be scared about. So that's my spoiler video, tag video. So until next time, bye.